Good evening, family. What's going on? How we doing this evening? It's your boy Rio, man, tapping in on the Unpolished podcast. You know, the Unpolished podcast is the podcast for the entrepreneur that didn't wait to get it right to get started. So the goal of this podcast is to bring you different stories from different entrepreneurs like myself of resilience. We don't really want to talk to anyone that actually went to college for a marketing degree and open up a marketing agency. Although that's beautiful. We're looking for more people that have actually picked up a skill just from natural interactions in life and nurtured that skill to be able to make a living for themselves. So this is the Unpolished podcast. Like I said, the podcast for the entrepreneur that didn't wait to get it right to get started. So welcome.
Why you come up with that name?
With
Why you
the
come up with
Unpolished.
the unpolished? How does that represent you though?
So unpolished, man, it just represents me in a whole. Unpolished is something that I consider myself to be in process of right now. I'm unpolished, getting polished. Them smooth edges around stuff like that. So I feel like it just fits me perfectly. About my journey, about my story, everything. Man, this week's topic is all about exposure and finding your purpose. I'm gonna give out some different stories on some things that you could do to find your purpose, to get exposure in order to find your purpose. We was talking a little bit off camera, and when I came up with the title, he was like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said he said in order to be exposed, you have to find your purpose. And I said, well, we can flip it and say, in order to find your purpose, you have to be exposed. So that's pretty much what we're going to dive into today. I'm going to give you guys some nice tips, some things like that you can do to start the journey of finding your purpose. So really, man, I feel like people don't walk in their purpose for a number of different reasons. One of those reasons could be fear. I think that's a big one that a lot of people might say. Second one I would say is really not knowing what to do to bring that dream or idea to fruition. Um, One could be your environment. Environment plays a big part in a lot of choices that we make, things like that. Um, and I would say those top three for me.
Okay, so for a person who does not have purpose, what are some things you can do to find your purpose?
So I'm gonna give you guys a quick story, man, to kind of figure out how you can find your purpose. So the first thing I would say is find something that you do that you're willing that you're doing for free currently, or that you're willing to do for free. Something that you enjoy, whether that's photography, whether that's washing cars, cleaning houses, whatever it is that you enjoy to do. I would say explore that option first. Start there. See what if the earning potential of said trade or industry that you desire to be in or that you're comfortable in, will that bring you the type of income or the type of lifestyle that you're looking for? Meaning, don't, if you're trying to live a lavish lifestyle, you wouldn't try to go do something that wouldn't provide that. Whatever that is, I'm not going to name any type of jobs or anything. But yeah, that would be the best part. But the story that I pretty much have right now is how I more so say that I quote unquote found my purpose. When I say I found my purpose, I more so say that I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. It could be something totally different 10 years from now. This road that I'm on now can lead me to a whole nother road and I'm not even really looking at it as of right now. um, at the end of the day, that's kind of where we are. Um, I'm just gonna give you a quick story about how I kind of got to where I am right now, just on purpose stuff. Um, One of the things that I really started doing was traveling. I started traveling the world. Um, the first time I ever traveled was in 2006. I had traveled to a no, was that '06? No, that was 2008. I'm sorry. That was the first time I ever traveled. I went on a cruise, and the cruise we went to Saint Martin, Labradee, Haiti, Cozumel, and Ochos Rios. And the the cruise was cool. Like being on the ship, all that stuff was cool. It was first time traveling out the country, but I left the trip feeling empty. And what I mean by that is like soon as the island got to kind of like popping off, we had to get back on the ship and get on to the next spot. So I really didn't get a chance to really hang out there, kick it there, or do anything like that. So that sparked my interest. First thing to travel. That was the first thing that happened. Initially, what I did was once I started traveling, like going basically taking flights to the destinations. I started off by going all to the destinations that I traveled on cruises. So I went to Saint Martin, say Dominican Republic. I went to Jamaica. All the ones that I was going to on the cruises, I started going there, traveling there. So that's where I got exposed at. That's where the egg got hatched. Where I fully became exposed is when I actually started traveling. I started going to these destinations. I started going, staying the night on the island instead of getting back on the ship and traveling through the night to the next port. So what ended up happening was I ended up starting to see how these people were living their life, like the locals, how they were going about their everyday life, how they were going about making money, taking care of their family, stuff like that. So I started to be very intrigued. What I used to do when I go to every country, I would collect some of their money, their paper money. And it was just kind of like a symbolic thing for me to understand not only being at the country or going there visiting, but also understanding how their money works, meaning what turns the economy. Like, what is the average person doing that's from that particular location? So to me, that's kind of where I got exposed. I started learning about different things, global markets, stuff like that. A lot of financial stuff. That's where I kind of got that whole idea, but it came through travel. It came through being exposed to something that I wasn't exposed to as a kid. If you heard me say it, I didn't travel it was 2008 when I first traveled. My daughter was 2 years old. That was the first time I went on a cruise. And before that, I had only been to California and, been to Atlanta, Miami, stuff like that, but not out of the country on any type of international trips or anything like that. But yeah, that's what I would say. That's where my initial journey of finding my purpose started.
So it started there, and that was where the journey started. But what
Right.
sparked your purpose? What sparked saying that what, God,
Mm-hmm.
I hear exactly what you're saying to me, and I
Mm-hmm.
know now printing is what I need to be doing.
Exposure, man. I think exposure was powerful. Being exposed, I've always had an entrepreneur mind. A lot of times I wasn't entrepreneuring and enterprising the right things, but I've always had an entrepreneur mind. So once I moved to Atlanta, and that's why it's always I love Atlanta because Atlanta did something for me. It broadened my horizon just on the whole, just on the whole level of business, or what's possible. Where I'm from, Ohio, a lot of us, brothers, it's kind of the same old song. Either you gotta, wicked jump shot or you slinging crack rock type of thing. That's what Biggie said. So it was kind of like that when I was growing up. But a lot of people, once they moved out of the city, I started to notice they started flourishing different ways. They started talking different, acting different, having different type of lifestyles. So that was something that I wanted for myself. You know what I mean? I always, like I said, I've always had an entrepreneur mind. I always had a mind of what I'm going through right now was just temporary as far as whatever it was. If it was, bad situations, that's how I got through a lot of my bad situations was, just thinking of them being temporary, not forever. But yeah, I would say Atlanta really exposed me to a lot, exposed me to what's possible. I met some amazing entrepreneurs here in Atlanta. I met some people who, when I first met them, they was on the grind. Now years later, they living their best life, and it was like, not saying Atlanta did that, but just the aura or the energy around Atlanta and being around different people that's going after their dreams on their journey, trying to find their purpose, things of that nature. It just gives you that little extra little, the little push that, some of us might not have growing up in the area where we live in. I think it's all about just really searching, man. I think a lot of times we can become complacent with the position that we play right now, for a lot of different reasons. Life be life, and you might not want to take risks at this particular time. You get a lot of information on the news. They talking about financial crisis and the dollar losing this, so a lot of people really don't know what to do. So that's why I think platforms like this, Unpolished, is good, because we bring people on that not only tell their story of resilience, but it also lets you know that probably what you're thinking about is possible. I think right now in the world, it's all about. I'm not gonna say all about, but I think right now in the world, it's a space for creatives. I think creatives are carving out a lot of different things in this space right now, because if you think about it, the thought of money, a car, a building, even cameras, microphones, all that stuff came from somebody's mind, from a thought process that they had. So whatever it is that you're thinking is probably 99.9% is more than likely possible to happen. So I'm gonna ask a question like this week. One question that I would give to an entrepreneur that's looking to get started, um, on their journey. Let me say that. Whatever journey that is, whether that's your personal development journey, whether that's your financial improvement, intergenerational wealth, that's the word that people say. Generational wealth basically stops with you. So the word that everyone wants to use is intergenerational wealth. That's what passes on to next. So look it up. Anyway, uh, I would say the first thing that I would do if I was an entrepreneur, or I'm not even gonna say an entrepreneur, if I was someone that was looking to change my situation for the better. Let me say that. Whatever it is, wherever you are now, you're trying to do it become better. What I would do is I would first figure out who I am first. Who am I as a person? Like, and what I mean is who I am as a person. It's very easy to find out who you are, because how you do one thing is how you do all things. So let's say, for instance, you want to be a, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's say I'm trying to be very, very, very direct right now. So okay, let's say this. Let's say you want to become a big event planner, but in your everyday life, you always late. You ain't ever on time. You're not organized. Your car dirty. Your closet ain't cleaned up. Man, maybe being a event planner might not be the best thing, because you're not organized automatically normally. So I would say figure out who you are as a person. What type of promises have you made with yourself that you kept? Do you have high integrity, or is it only when someone is watching you? If someone dropped a wallet and it had $100 in it, would you pick it up and give it to them, or would you, try to slide it to the side and pick it up for yourself? So really, truly, honestly, figure out who you are to the core. Like, what type of person are you? And I think once you figure that out, I think everything else that you tackle will be a lot simpler. I'm not gonna say easy, but it will be a lot simpler, because you're not willing to expose who you are or compromise who you are. That's the word I'm going to say. You're not willing to compromise who you are for whatever exposure, money, whatever, love, anything. So I think the sooner you figure out who you are as a person, the more that it helps your journey. Man, it feels good. Every day I'm getting more information about what my purpose truly is. one thing I do know that my purpose entails is helping someone. I truly, honestly believe I've been put on this earth to not only help myself and help myself get to the quote unquote finish line. And that's another thing, man. Like we got to stop that as entrepreneurs, man. It's not a finish line to this. A lot of times, what we do as entrepreneurs, we are shooting for some imaginary finish line. And when we feel we fell short from that imaginary finish line, that messes up our confidence, it messes with our psyche, all types of stuff. It makes you question yourself, all types of stuff. So let's just work. Like, stop looking for them imaginary finish lines because the goalpost is always going to be moved. If your goal is to make 100,000, it's gonna be somebody making 150,000. It's gonna be somebody making $1 million. Like it's gonna be somebody making $10 million. Like so, my thing is just do what's for you and rock how you rock. So that was like a commercial, but man, the Unpolished podcast is getting me for one comfortable with being on camera. Two, it's giving me an outlet, to just let go things that I want to talk about. Like, I don't really want to start off the podcast as a interview based podcast. I kind of want people to get to know me as a person. You know what I'm saying? Get to know who I am first, whether that takes a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, until I feel like I'm comfortable where I've connected with some people across these airwaves about what I'm talking about and about the different challenges and things that we have as entrepreneurs. So I'm not in a hurry to interview nobody. For some topics that some people want me to talk about or, something that you want to talk about, then, we got a suggestion box on YouTube on the comment section, and we'll definitely read them. So, like, comment, subscribe, RBY Prints. We got a lot of stuff on there. We're going to be doing printing on there. My podcast is hosted on the RBY YouTube page. But yeah, that's what's going on. I just want to say, man, we're going into the fourth quarter. We got about 2 more months to the fourth quarter. That's August, September. I would say over the next 2 months, 60 days, really find you something that you can ride out to the end of the year and really see it through. Not saying quit at the end of the year, but, find your target and keep knocking on that target. Even if you keep hitting it again, keep hitting it again, keep hitting it again, keep hitting it again. And once you figured out how to keep hitting that target again, package that up and sell it.